I want you to take your mind back to university. It's a mid-morning lecture. You decide you're gonna sit at the back, but not too far back. You have your coffee. You're feeling pretty good about the lecture. Like, this is not one of the lectures that you think, I'm just gonna skip because what does this have to do with what I want to do with the rest of my life? This is actually one that you want to go to. You know the ones, right? And so you get in there, you make yourself comfortable, and my guy, professor, starts speaking, and you're thinking, okay, like maybe he's gonna pick up. He's gonna make this a little bit more engaging. And he goes on and on. And 20 minutes in, you realize, well, he's on slide 3 of 89 slides, and your optimism is gone. You're thinking, is there a way that I can gently ease out of this lecture hole without anyone noticing? But there's another thought that's going on in your head, which is, how does this professor not realize how unengaging he is being? Is it that he doesn't care because he's got tenure and so it doesn't matter? He can't be he can't be fired, he's untouchable? Or is it that he just doesn't realize, and you battle with that for the rest of the lecture because you're like, this is, not only is it incomprehensible, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm so unengaged and I feel this is a waste of my time. Yeah? We've got that whole scene down. We remember what that's like in uni days. Okay. Now, if you are a technical professional explaining your work and finding that you struggle at times, I have something very uncomfortable to tell you, which is that you, when you explain your work to a lay audience, are exactly like that professor. I know. And just as you were thinking of the professor, how does he not know that this is completely unengaging? That's what the people listening to you are thinking. How the tables have turned, that other people are saying that of you. What's going on? Well, it's this sneaky little phenomenon called the curse of knowledge. And that's simply that when we don't know and we get little bits of information as we go along, we take those pieces of information as standard, and we make the assumption that everybody else already knows what we know. And because it happens in small increments, there comes a certain point in time where we actually don't remember what it's like not to know. And so we start speaking as if everybody should already understand, and well, they don't. And that happens gradually, day after day, month after month, year after year, to the point where now when you explain your work after decades of being in this field, you don't remember what it's like to be like that uni student who thinks, man, this person is so unengaging. And what that means is that the questions that you once needed answered, you don't even remember. It's nearly as if because your brain has resolved them and now understands them, it's like it went poof. Nope, not even a thing. We don't even know what the question was anymore. And what that means is, without meaning to do it, you skip over so many steps that would be helpful to the person who doesn't yet understand because you just can't see the gap anymore. It's like thinking of stepping stones where there's water in between, and you have giant legs and you're trying to lead someone who's just started to walk. Well, they're going to fall in the water because the distance between the stones is too big. And so what ends up happening is that there is a massive disconnect between what you hear when you hear yourself speak and what the audience hears when they hear you speak. So, for example, you might say something and you think, oh, this is great nuance. And they're thinking, this is just unfamiliar terminology with zero context. Or you're thinking, oh, this is technical precision, technical excellence. And they're thinking, this is just too much detail, complete overkill. Or you're thinking, this is intellectual depth and a demonstration of rigor. And they're thinking, I have no idea what this person is talking about. And when all of that is happening, and to you, all of this is brilliance, it's excellence, it's, oh my goodness, creme de la creme of your field, they, on the other hand, their auditory brain is thinking, I don't know how long I can sustain this attention for because I don't know where I'm supposed to be directing it. Nothing in here seems particularly relevant to me, so maybe I should just switch off and reserve my energy for something that's directed at me and is at least in some way engaging. That's how your brain works. We all want to save energy, and your brain is no different. Your auditory brain is no different. So, in fact, it has nothing to do with your audience's level of intelligence and everything to do with the fact that their auditory brain didn't find anything relevant to latch onto, and so did exactly what it was supposed to do, which is preserve energy so that they would have the strength to do other things later on that were relevant to them. Yeah. But let me talk about the element of this that most people actually overlook. When you speak about your expertise and do so in such a way that people think, man, I didn't get anything at all. And we've all been to that painful presentation where we think, man, oof, that's tough. Like this person feels very awkward, like they are muddled in their thoughts. It all seems like it's just going haywire. When you have that experience as the audience, but you can see that the person speaking actually feels this is kind of okay. I think my research is brilliant and I'm happy to speak about it, to run over time for 20 minutes. I'm happy to continue in details and terminology that no one understands. It actually says to your audience that you lack self awareness. Because if you realized that no one was understanding what you were saying, you would probably stop, right? Because otherwise, what's the point? You're not speaking for speaking's sake. But if you give a presentation and you don't stop yourself to say, maybe that's a word that no one understands, then it indicates that you're not really using that critical assessment that is required in a leader. A leader has to stop and assess, am I actually leading people? Are the people following? Or as John Maxwell says, am I just taking a walk? That's what he says. A leader who thinks he's leading but has no one following is just taking a walk. And so when you're giving a presentation and you share all these lofty ideas that are going way over people's heads, you might just be taking a walk, but you want to be aware of it, tweak it so that actually people will decide to follow you. You do not want to be known as the person who cannot read the room. That signals everything but leadership, right? You want to be a person who is acutely aware of the gap between what your audience understands and what you understand, and to be able to bridge that gap effectively because you are deeply aware of what goes into the nuances that are going to help the audience understand. And that is a leadership question rather than even just a communication one. And so what I want to say here is, when you ignore the communication skill part and just say, oh, well, I want to be a leader because of my expertise, and yet you're not able to put yourself in the position of your audience in order to bring them in so that they follow better, then it signals to those around you, this person can't read the room. And that is going to cost you leadership points every single day. And so how do you break this curse of knowledge? Well, I'm going to give you 3 little tips. And the one is going to be E, to extract the core idea. When you have something that you want to say, take everything that you could say, but then whittle it down. What is my core central thought that I want people to leave with after this presentation? One idea. One. And push yourself until you get to that one. Okay? The second is A. Be intentional about adjusting to the audience. So extract the core idea and then adjust it to the audience. Speaking to your colleagues, a whole world of difference from speaking to people who have no context for your work. Adapt. Adjusting and adapting to your audience makes the world of difference. If you ask yourself, what would they already know about this? And what am I adding? Then it shows that you are aware and that you are, as we said before, bridging that gap. So E, extract, A, adjust, and R, remember what it's like not to know. Remind yourself of being that student in that lecture hall and thinking, man, oh, if I could just walk out. Remember what that was like. Remind yourself what it was like not to know. Remind yourself what it was like to think, man, this person is so unengaging. What tips would I have given to that professor to make it more engaging, to hold my attention? Give yourself those same tips in order to hold the attention of the people in front of you. And with that, remind yourself that communication is not a test of what you know. It's a test of who can follow what you know. And when you make that distinction and you put all your effort into making sure that people can follow, your level of influence will match your level of expertise. The irony about this is that the more you know, the greater you have to work in order to simplify your expertise. And that's not a paradox. It just means the sheer volume needs more condensing in order for people to have it in bite-sized chunks. And the most leadership-like quality and sophisticated attribute you can have is to be the kind of person who has all of the knowledge in the world, but who makes it digestible for the person in front of them. Make it effortless for your audience to receive, and rest assured that the leadership positions that you have been after will come far more effortlessly to you. That sounds like something that you want. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.